Okay, cool. So this is going to be just the way in which we're going to check these ideas. Let's continue. Now, that was everything related to, no, sorry, let's continue right here with some methods, right? So what is going to be just a method? The plan of language teaching which consistent with the theories. Remember, all the theories and all the structures and everything are going to be just related to the approach, but the method is going to be just the planning process, okay? Of about all, about a class, right? But I'm not talking about only one class, I'm talking about a set of classes, okay? Based on Mackey, 1975, says that method may mean different things to different people. For some, it means a set of teaching procedures. That's right, it's a set of teaching procedures. Another idea is going to be the avoidance of teaching procedures, what to do and what not to do. For some, it is the primary of a language skill. So the theories telling you what to do as a teacher, what to do as a student, what to do with the material. For the others, it is the type and amount of vocabulary and structure. Everything that is being said over there, that is going to be the method, right? Okay. Now, the term method and the direct method may refer to the single aspect of language teaching, so presentation of material. That was the the main objective here, to present material for the students to have an interaction with. And remember that the direct method or the Berlitz method was incorporated in order to create an evolution after the creation of the grammar translation method. Then we have the reading method that is going to be just emphasized on reading, right? That's it. So you're going to read, and as much you're going to read, you're going to produce, but the pronunciation right is not going to be just the most important issue. Then we have the grammar translation method, right? So what is going to be just the objective right here? To learn grammar, to learn vocabulary in order to learn how to translate. And after doing the translation, you're going to get to know the language, period. Okay, let's continue. So, Mackey, 1975, states that all teaching, whether good or bad, must include some sort of selection, some sort of gradation, some sort of presentation, some sort of repetition, and that's okay, right? Because if nobody understands the lesson, you need to repeat it again. How many times? As much as possible, right? So, sort of selection. What materials are you going to select for the activity, right? So, for example, are you going to use 20 videos in one class? No. Are you going to use only one video for one class? Let's say 2 or 3. Are they connected? Yes, of course, they need to be connected. So this says, therefore, all methods should include the 4 steps of teaching a language, right? And these forms, these steps are going to be related to selection, gradation, presentation, and repetition. Richard Rogers says that method is going to be related to the theory. It's going to be just related to, yes, to this related to the theory that is stated in the approach, right? In which you're going to have a design and in which you're going to work with the procedure.
Ay, a mí me quedaron los audífonos.
¿Dónde?
Hola, profe.
Okay, cool. Now the technique is going to be just part of the method, right? But for only one specific activity, for only one specific process, for only one specific objective. So it says over there, It is implementational, meaning that a technique is something that actually takes place in language teaching or learning in the classroom. So, for example, I'm teaching this video, right? I'm talking. No, sorry, I'm teaching the content inside the slides. But the technique, my technique right here is going to be just related to, let's say, repetition. So I'm going to repeat this once and over and over and over again for you to learn the content of it, right? In a diverse way every time that I'm going to repeat it. Okay. Okay. Now, let's take into account some other ideas related to the technique. So remember that we saw some things related to error correction, right? Question: what is error correction? Error analysis, sorry.
Error analysis is direct method? No.
Nope. What is error analysis? What do you remember about error analysis? I know that you know.
Well, we analyze errors that other people made. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to take into account some aspects, such as the well, uh, the type of error, if
Mm-hmm.
it is error or is mistake, is a mistake,
Very good.
and if if it is lexical, grammatical, um, more syntax error, etc.
Very good. That's it.
Um, I'm sorry.
That's it. Very good. You're learning.
Error analysis is an important source for teachers and also for students to correct their errors. Also.
Yes. Very good. Let's see, for example, what is going to be just the error correction in some of the methods right here. So, for example, the teacher does not praise or criticize so that the language learner learn to rely on themselves. That is going to be the silent way, right? As I told you before, the teacher is not going to say anything. Maybe it's going to make some symbols or some signs with the fingers, with the what? With the some paralinguistic elements for for she to teach or to tell the student that something is wrong. Okay. The second part, for example, it says that the teacher always praises when a student has made a good thing in learning. So that is going to be the audiolingual method. Remember, in the audiolingual method and in direct method, the what the effort is going to be rewarded, right? But the mistake, no. Okay, number 3. When a student has produced a wrong expression, the teacher just repeats the right one. That's going to be typical, total physical response, right?
Teacher, but you said you or no? I don't
Yes,
know if you said that we cannot ay, interrumpir,
interrupt.
interrupt a student when he's talking because he or she could lose the idea. Yeah, the idea.
Yes, you can, thank you. You can interrupt a student, but there are going to be some special moments in which you're going to interrupt the students. If it is going to be just the silent way, you're going to make, for example, somewhat some symbols or some movements, right? But it's not going to be interruption. That is going to be just guidance in the end, right? But interruption could be, for example, total physical response. And let's say, for example, give me the apple. The teacher says, no, it's not giving me the apple. It's give me the apple. Repeat, give me the apple. The other one says, give me the apple, give me the apple. So that is going to be the way um, in which the correction is going to be done here, right? For example, if it is going to be a role play, the role play has been memorized, right? So as it was memorized, you can interrupt the student right here because the student is going to follow a script. But if it is going to be just a presentation, right? Maybe you can do the correction in the right moment or after after the presentation, right?
Okay.
Because some ideas that are going to be improvised can be lost. Now, talking about the natural method, it says over there that the teacher does not care when students make errors as long as it does not hinder the communication, meaning that does not interrupt the communication method, the communication. Okay. Okay, based on Brown about technique. So we're going to take into account right here some aspects related to a technique. What could be a technique? Number one could be a task, right? So right here, it is going to be just focused on the authentic use of the language for communicative purposes, but not inside the classroom, right? That is going to be just an activity. It is going to be just beyond the classroom. So for example, when I tell you to talk in English every time you can with your classmates, that's going to be part of the task, right? Now, what is going to be just an activity? Well, it's going to be just everything, virtually everything that you're going to do inside the classroom. So tasks are going to be done beyond the classroom, and the activity is going to be everything you do inside the classroom, right? So we have right here 3 steps related to the activity or 3 definitions. So number one, we usually refer to reasonable and unified set of students' behavior limited in time, preceded by some direction formed from the teacher with a particular objective. In other words, you're going to tell the objective of the activity to your students every time you're going to start an activity. What could be an activity? Okay, an activity may include role plays, drills, games, pair editing, small groups, information gap exercise, debates, discourses, sharing opinion, completing the gaps, everything, right? So that is going to be just the activities. I'm going to read the following paragraph. It says, because an activity implies some sort of activity or active performance on the part of the learners, it is generally not used to refer to certain teaching activity behaviors, saying like good morning, maintaining eye contact to the students, playing a grammar point, or writing a list of words on the chalkboard or on the board. So now the activity right here is going to be focused even more on the interaction that the student and the teacher have inside the classroom, right? So example, in a debate, what is going to be just, well, that is going to be just activity, a debate. But why? Because the activity contains some stages, some steps to be developed, right? But for example, when I say good morning and the others says response good morning, that is not going to be an activity.
Sorry,
Right?
teacher.
Yes.
What's the difference between task and activity?
Okay, the task is what you do or what you assign for the students to do outside the classroom, right?
Like
It's going to be the same thing like an activity, like yeah, like an activity, but for communicating or for using the language outside the classroom. Example, can you create a role play as a task? Yes, of course. But what is going to be the objective right here? The objective right here is to implement or to conduct all the knowledge you gain inside the classroom for an extracurricular activity. That's going to be a task. But the activity is going to be done inside the classroom. For you to do what? For you to use the language in an interactive way under your supervision, right?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Now, all the activities, they're going to have procedures, right? And all the methods and all the techniques are going to have procedures. So what is a procedures? Once again, let's take Richards and Rogers, right? I read the Richards and Rogers, if I'm not wrong, in 2007, right? And they say that this encompass the actual moment-to-moment techniques, practices, and behavior that operate in teaching a language according to a particular method, right? So we're going to be focused right here on the stages, right? But based on a particular method, let's say the audiolingual method, right? How are you going to develop that stage? So based on the audiolingual method, the stage of this activity is going to be done in this way. That is going to be the procedure, right? So it is going to include the techniques, right? We're going to include right here techniques. And that's it. So for example, it's going to be just the definition of those stages, how to do that step by step. Okay, let's see some other ideas related to technique. So here, a technique right here is going to include tasks and activities, right? But for only one purpose. If we see, for example, what Anthony 1963 says, uh, the language teaching literature actually accepted technique as a superordinate term to refer to various activities that either teachers or learners perform in the classroom. That is going to be just a technique, right? So we have also, they almost always planned and deliberate done on purpose rather than by accident, right? So that is going to be a technique. So what to take into account in order to create an activity, right? How to design that activity, what is going to be the procedures in that activity. So everything is going to be included. Well, those issues are going to be included inside the technique. So once again, these techniques are going to be just the choices made by the teacher, right? So based on the purposes for teaching the language, right? Based on the pedagogical purposes, all in all, based on the objectives for that class and based on those activities. And these are going to be just the ideas that we need to take into account. This information was adapted from Crooks and Chaudron, 1991, related to the taxonomy of language teaching techniques. And this is going to be very useful for your planning, okay? So pay attention to this. Okay, in terms of this, we're going to take into account these control techniques. So for example, number one, that's going to be just warming up activity. Number two, the setting, right? Number three, the organizational issue. Then the content explanation. Then the demonstration, if you're going to use, for example, a role play. Number six is going to be the dialogue or narrative presentation if required. Number seven, dialogue narrative recitation, right? Number eight, reading aloud. Number nine, checking. Number 10, checking answer display. 11, some drills. 12, translation. 13, dictation. Number 14, copying. Number 15, identification. Number 16, recognition. 17, review. 18, testing. 19, meaningful drill. 20, brainstorming. 21, storytelling. 22, question answer referential. 23, cute narrative dialogue. Number 24, information transfer. Number 25, information exchange. 26, wrap up. 27, narration or exposition, and 28, preparation, and more. Some free techniques. These ones were some related to control techniques, semi-control techniques, right? And these free techniques, so role plays, games, reports, problem solving, drama, simulation, interview, discussion, composition, and propose or apropos techniques. Okay. Another idea related to Klippel, 1984. So how to start creating these warm-up activities, right? So you're going to create right here for every activity, you're going to create your steps, as you see right here, right? And that's all. Well, guys, as I intend to finish this class at 5 p.m. because I need to cover something else, and I'm going to share this with the chat, in the chat. No chat. Now, over there, you have the slides. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes of a break for you to do a kind of active movement or something like that, right? Because we're going to finish. Well, I would like you to read right here the information from the slides 20 here, here, 25 to 37, right? For you to give me later on some ideas on what you possibly want to work on for the next for the exam, right? Doesn't matter if it is going to be just in English or in French. Okay. Then we're going to continue with the approaches. What is the PDF about the approaches?
So, but can you please share the link in the interactive group?
On that model?
Yeah, because we can load.
Yeah, I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to share it in the model, right, for you to check it. And no, the methods. This is one. Yes, and I'm going to talk about these methods too, right? As a fast review because I want to finish this topic today. Okay, guys, so it's 2 past 4. So at 12 past 4, I'll see you here again, okay? So take 10 minutes coffee break. If you have coffee, drink coffee. If not, drink water or do whatever you want. But see you here in 10 minutes.
25 to 38.
Yeah, 27. If I told 20. We got
25 to 28. 25 to 37.
25 to 37. Yes. So for you to read it and to give me some ideas on what activity you're going to work with. Okay. And that's it. So see you here in 10 minutes.
Okay.